I'm Edna. The country club dining room was in chaos. Phones were buzzing everywhere, and the air was thick with shock and disbelief. I sat there, watching as the faces around me transformed from smug superiority to utter shock. Just an hour ago, they were mocking me, calling me delusional, and telling me I couldn't succeed if I tried. Now, they were reading about how I'd built a $3,200,000,000 company that was saving lives around the world. My parents, Henry and Violet, had always been the epitome of old money arrogance. They'd built a highly successful law firm in the city, and their social circle was filled with the wealthy and influential. My older brother, Ryan, was their golden child. At 32, he was a partner at a prestigious marketing firm and had just married his high society wife, Lily. I, on the other hand, had always been the black sheep of the family. I'd chosen to pursue a career in software development, specifically in artificial intelligence for healthcare diagnostics. I'd been working on my company, MedTech AI, from my apartment in the trendy but somewhat gritty industrial district for the past 4 years. It was my parents' 45th wedding anniversary, and they'd thrown a lavish party at the country club. I'd shown up in a simple black dress, my usual strategy for family events: show up, stay quiet, and leave early. But tonight, things were about to take a turn. As we sat at the family table, my mother, Violet, with her perfectly coiffed hair and expensive jewelry, called across the table to me. "Edna, Mrs. Thompson was just asking what you've been up to. Tell her about your little projects." Mrs. Thompson, a woman dripping in diamonds and snobbery, turned to me with feigned interest. "Yes, dear. Your mother mentioned you've been quite busy. What is it you do again?" I replied simply, "I work in software development." Mrs. Thompson's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, how modern. One of those computer jobs. And are you with a major company? Apple? Amazon?" I took a deep breath and said, "Actually, I run my own company." My father, Henry, let out a loud laugh that cut through the pleasant dinner conversation. "She calls it a company. It's more of a hobby, really." Edna's always had a wild imagination. Heat crept up my neck, but I'd learned over the years to keep my composure. "I'm working on artificial intelligence for healthcare diagnostics," I said quietly. Ryan snorted from across the table. "She means she sits in her apartment writing code and calls herself a CEO. His wife, Lily, giggled. "That's so cute. It's like a lemonade stand, but with computers." My mother smoothly interrupted, addressing the table at large. Even as a child, Edna would make up these elaborate stories about what she was going to accomplish. We thought she'd grow out of it, but she didn't. My father chimed in, "At 29, she's still living in a fantasy world, pretending to build an empire from her apartment in the industrial district." I couldn't help but defend myself. "I like the neighborhood. It's close to the tech community." Ryan mocked me. "The tech community? You sound like a character from a Silicon Valley movie. Except you're in a rundown apartment, not Silicon Valley." My mother said, "Ryan, don't be cruel. Your sister is doing her best. It's not her fault she doesn't have your drive and talent." Lily added, "Edna, you were so smart in school. Everyone thought you'd do something great. But here you are, almost 30, still playing around with computers. Don't you want a real career? A real life?" I kept my voice even. "This is my real life. I'm building something important." My father slammed his wine glass on the table. "That's the problem, Edna. This is your so-called real life. Living alone, working on projects no one understands, making God knows how little money, with no prospects or future." Mrs. Thompson leaned in conspiratorially. "Surely she must make some money from this computer work, even if it's not much." My mother said, "We honestly don't know. She refuses to discuss finances with us, won't accept our help, and won't take our advice. She's so stubborn." I corrected softly, "Independent." My father overrode me. Foolishly stubborn. We've offered her positions at the firm, entry level, of course, since she has no real business experience, but she insists on this technology nonsense. Mrs. Thompson shook her head sadly. Such a waste. You and Violet built one of the most successful law firms in the state. The connections and opportunities you could provide, and she chooses computers. Ryan added, in an apartment in the industrial district. Don't forget that important detail. Laughter rippled around the table, and I could feel the eyes of nearby tables on us. My mother addressed the growing audience. We've made peace with Edna's choices. Not every child can be successful. Some people just aren't cut out for it. But we love her anyway. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm not failing. I'm building something that will change the world. My father's face darkened. Don't raise your voice at this table, Edna. We're celebrating our anniversary. If you can't be pleasant, you can leave. I started to stand up, but my mother grabbed my wrist. You'll stay and be gracious. This is our day, and you will not ruin it. I sat back down, defeated. Just then, Mr. Thompson's phone buzzed. He looked at it, his expression changing from polite interest to confusion and then to shock. That's odd, he muttered. Mrs. Thompson leaned over to look at his screen. Her eyes went wide. Oh my God. Phones around the room started buzzing one after another. My mother's phone lit up on the table. She picked it up, read something, and her face went pale. Henry, look at this. My father took the phone, his expression skeptical. As he read, his face transformed. What is it? Ryan demanded. More phones came out, and people around the dining room were reading, their faces showing shock. Lily gasped and showed Ryan her phone. I watched as Ryan's face went from smug to disbelieving in seconds. That can't be right, he said weakly. Mrs. Thompson stared at me, her mouth slightly open. You're Edna Reed? The Edna Reed? Number 1 on the Forbes 30 under 30 list? The dining room fell silent. People were looking at their phones, reading the same articles. My father was still reading from my mother's phone, his face ashen. Forbes number 1 pick for technology innovators. Edna Reed, founder and CEO of MedTech AI. Revolutionary diagnostic software that's transforming healthcare globally. 29 years old. Company valuation. $3.2 billion. Personal net worth estimated at $890 million. The silence was absolute. Ryan was scrolling frantically through his phone. There are hundreds of articles. TechCrunch, Wired, all of them are covering this. It went live 10 minutes ago. Lily shrieked, but that's impossible. She lives in an apartment in the industrial district. This has to be a mistake. Mrs. Thompson turned her phone around, showing a professional photo from the Forbes article. It was definitely me, looking much more polished than I did at family dinners. My mother was crying now. You did all this in 4 years. While we... She couldn't finish the sentence. My father was just staring at his phone, his face going from red to white to gray. You're worth $890 million. I said quietly, that's just an estimate, based on company valuation and my ownership stake. The actual number fluctuates. Ryan found another article. Business Insider is calling you the most important healthcare innovator of the decade. They're comparing you to the inventors of the MRI and CT scan. I replied, that's generous. I just wrote better software. Lily nearly screamed, you created technology that's saving lives all over the world, and you call it better software? A man from a nearby table approached me. Miss Reed, I'm Dr. James Carter. I'm a cardiologist at City General Hospital. I use your software every day. It's changed everything. I caught a heart condition last week that I would have missed without MedTech AI. The patient is on the road to recovery because of your work. I was genuinely happy. I'm glad. That's why I built it. He shook his head in wonder. I had no idea you were so young or that you'd been working in such obscurity. The whole medical community is talking about this Forbes article. Everyone wants to meet you, thank you. More people approached, doctors and medical professionals, all expressing their gratitude and disbelief. My mother's phone started ringing, and then my father's and Ryan's. Within minutes, their phones were lighting up with calls from media outlets, old friends, and business associates. My mother reached for my hand. Edna, sweetheart, we've been so wrong about you. We're so sorry. I pulled my hand back gently. You weren't wrong about what you saw. You were wrong about what you assumed. You saw me working from home, living simply, and being private about my work. You assumed I was failing, but I was just focused. My father set down his phone, his hands shaking. For years, we've been criticizing you, telling you to get a real job. All this time, you were revolutionizing healthcare. Ryan was scrolling through his phone with increasing agitation. There's a video trending on Twitter. Someone recorded Dad's speech earlier. The part where he said you couldn't succeed if you tried. It's been shared 40,000 times in the past 20 minutes. My mother whispered, "Oh God." My father's face went bright red with anger and humiliation. You could have told us, warned us. I asked calmly, warn you not to publicly humiliate your daughter? That should be common sense, Dad. Mrs. Thompson tried to salvage the situation. Well, this is all wonderful news. Edna, we're so proud of you. We've always known you were special. I said firmly, please don't. We both know that's not true. You've spent the evening calling me ordinary and telling me to accept my limitations. More phones were ringing, and the video of my father's comments was spreading rapidly. The country club manager approached, looking flustered. Mr. and Mrs. Reed, I'm sorry, but there are about 30 reporters outside asking for Miss Reed. We're trying to keep them out. I stood up. I'll leave. I don't want to cause more disruption to your celebration. My mother grabbed my arm. Please, Edna. Stay. We can talk about this. I asked gently, talk about what? You spent the evening telling your friends that I was a failure. The Forbes article doesn't erase those words. My father stood up, his face a mix of shame and anger. What are you saying, Edna? That you're cutting us off? I said, I'm saying I'm going home to my apartment in the industrial district. I'm going to continue working on the next generation of MedTech AI, which will detect neurological diseases even earlier. And I'm going to think about what role, if any, this family plays in my life. Ryan said, you can't mean that. We're your family. I corrected him, you're people who share my DNA. Family is supposed to support you, believe in you. You've done none of those things for 4 years. You've mocked me and publicly humiliated me. The Forbes article doesn't change what you've done, it just makes you regret it. Mrs. Thompson tried one more time. Edna, surely you can forgive a few thoughtless comments. Your parents love you. I looked at my parents' faces, full of shock, shame, and calculation. Do they? It seems like they love my net worth and the status I can bring them. But the real me? I don't think they've ever loved that. My mother's sobbing intensified, but I felt oddly calm. For years of hurt and dismissal had built a wall around me. I pulled out my phone and texted my security team. My car will be here in 2 minutes. Security will help me through the reporters. Please give me some space for the next few weeks while I figure things out. As I walked towards the exit, the entire dining room watched me go. At the door, Dr. Carter caught up to me. Miss Reed, My daughter is studying computer science at the university. She wants to work in medical technology. Could she reach out to you for mentorship? I smiled, the first genuine smile of the evening. Have her email me through the company website. I make time for students who are serious about using technology to help people. Outside, my security team formed a barrier as reporters shouted questions. I didn't answer them. I just walked calmly to my car, a practical electric car, not a flashy billionaire's ride. As we pulled away, I looked back at the country club. Through the windows, I could see my family still sitting at the table, surrounded by people whose opinions they valued more than their own daughter's well-being. My phone was exploding with notifications. There were interview requests, speaking invitations, and messages from colleagues and investors. One text from Dr. Sarah Miller at Stanford, a researcher who'd helped validate my software, stood out. Saw the Forbes article. Congratulations. Also saw the video of your father. I'm so sorry. You deserve better. If you need anything, call me. I typed back, thank you. I'm just ready for this day to be over. Her response came quickly. Want to grab coffee tomorrow and talk about the next phase of the neural detection algorithms? Work is always a good distraction. I smiled. Yes, that sounds perfect. Because the work was real. The lives being saved were real. And unlike my family's conditional love, the work had never let me down. I was going to focus on that, and decide later what to do about my so-called family.